Frumess talks about Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Let's all talk about Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
Okay, welcome. So, every year I do something called 31 Days of Halloween. I've talked about it a little bit. Basically, what I do is, or what I used to do is I'd watch one movie a day for 31 days and write a little review about it. And I've been doing that for 6 or 7 years now. Well, this year I decided to take it up another notch. And because I've become very video-centric with my life and the way that I do things and all the podcasts I do, I decided, well, I'm going to do a little video review of every film that I watch for 31 days of Halloween. As the years increased, I stopped doing one movie a day, and it really became all about watching as many movies as I could for the 31 days of October. So, and the thing is, sometimes I would skip days. You know, as long as I was averaging, as long as I made it to 31 movies within the 31 days, then the challenge is completed. So now I'm taking it up another notch. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it or not, but I'm sure going to try. So for watch number one, horror movie number one, 31 Days of Halloween, I watched Promising Young Women. And here is my review. It's on Letterboxd. You can go follow me there. That's where I write reviews of movies that I watch. Sometimes I catalog all the films that I watch throughout the year. And so it begins. This one had a ton of buzz when it came out last year. I saw a lot of friends recommending it. Cassandra, the main character, is really layered and nuanced as she struggles to find proper catharsis for unseen trauma. The film does a wonderful job of revealing the narrative backstory through all sorts of character moments that dig little hooks into you, leaving you more and more invested in the outcome. And that's what any good film should do, right? It should dig little hooks in you that leave you wanting to get to the end. And this film does a great job of that until we get to a twist and a turn that left me really, really frustrated for certain characters, mainly Cassandra. All of the momentum comes to a screeching halt with this particular 1-2 punch. And with these choices, I felt like no one knew how to land the airplane from there. You know, like land the airplane. Like, how do we finish this film? Okay, at this point, you want to turn the video off if you have not seen Promising Young Women, because I'm about to spoil the crap out of it. I'm going to tell you what that 1-2 punch was that really, really let me down. Basically, Cassandra, the main character, who's slowly falling in love with the one good guy in the world that seems to be in her periphery, as she encounters all these like terrible, terrible men, turns out to have been there when her friend was being essayed, as they say on YouTube. She was raped, and he's indifferent to it, and it sort of throws her for a loop. And then she goes to get revenge on the guy that does the thing to her best friend. And it's really, really upsetting to see that she ends up dying. They end up killing her in the thing. And it just ruined it for me. I mean, look, I'm really happy. It's really great when a movie does something unexpected. That's great. But if it does something that's unexpected and it doesn't serve the story, or you're invested in her catharsis. You need to see how she's going to work through this stuff. And for her whole life to end at the hands of the dude that is responsible for her best friend's death ultimately, it just fell so flat for me from there. I was not happy. I was very turned off. What I would have liked to have seen, and this is just me as a movie viewer, I know what it is to make a movie. It's very hard. Listen, the director had their vision and did what they did. But if I had my druthers, if I ran the zoo, I would have loved to see where they would have gone with it had she discovered that her boyfriend was there at the time of the incident. For those of you who've seen this, know what I'm talking about, at the party where her friend was essayed, and that she sort of struggles. I thought that's where it was going to go. I thought we were going to see this struggle where she doesn't really know what to do at this point. She doesn't know whether to, sort of exact revenge on him. Does she turn all of her attention onto him And what, like, at what level of evil is this guy? Because, they say that and I think there's a lot of truth in that, evil is not necessarily the thing that's acting. It's the force that does nothing. It's the force that remains silent. And that's ultimately what her boyfriend is guilty of. He's guilty of watching and being silent and complicit through his silence. And, I kind of wanted to see what sort of draconian response would have come as a result. And we didn't get that at all. We didn't. And, the movie tries to sort of like, I said land the airplane. It does sort of, land down a little bit because you're kind of like, where's the movie going to go now? The main characters died. These assholes have gotten away with what they've done. Where's it going to go? And they find a way, but they find a way to sort of, and end things and give us some satisfaction, but not really. The satisfaction didn't need to be in getting revenge. The catharsis, seeing her catharsis was most important to me. And I feel like she never reached it. And she died before she reached it. So to me, that's the single most tragic thing, that she couldn't reconcile her trauma. And truthfully, that's what got her killed. The last thing I'll say is this, it deals with this theme of truth, of uncompromising truth. Everybody is blind to the truth in this movie. They don't want to look at it. The dean doesn't want to look at it. Just like everybody, everybody who was sort of like surrounding what happened, the best friend, the girlfriend, she doesn't want to look at what the truth is. Nobody does. But the truth is there. It exists. It exists on a nasty videotape that's on a phone. Cassandra's left with a choice that ends up killing her. She can either go off with her new boyfriend and be happy, or try to be happy, try to like live her life instead of like spending her time trying to exact revenge for her friend who she loved so much, who died very tragically. And I think it's never said how she died. I think it can be assumed that she must have, ended herself in that kind of way. She's uncompromising. She's like Rorschach in The Watchmen. Rorschach tells Dr. Manhattan, you got to kill me. You got to kill me because I am going to tell the truth. I can't keep this a secret. I can't keep what Ozymandias, whatever his name is, has done. And she needs to, and it's the same for her. She has to look at what is on that. She has to see the truth. And when she sees the truth, it's, what it is? It's like, it ultimately is like, so this metaphor of like, the truth can kill us. The truth kills, or that, sometimes it's better to leave, sometimes it's better to leave trauma buried. That doesn't mean that, I'm not saying that's a good thing, and I'm not saying that doesn't have its own side effects, but like, in an imperfect world, sometimes like ripping open scar tissue, like it can do more damage than it does good. Because here's the thing, when you rip open that scar tissue, you have to have a plan to put it back together or to heal. If there's no plan to heal, then you're just going to bleed out, right? A little bit. Does that make any sense? And I feel like that kind of happens in this film. And that's just, that's just my 2 cents. Like I said, I was really, really invested in the story all the way up until, like 20 minutes before the movie ends, or 25 minutes. I just thought the characterization was really great. And they just sort of revealed all these interesting narrative bits about what had happened in the past. They show us, they don't tell us, which is such it's so indicative of just intelligent storytelling. And so it is there in this film. It just turns places where I just got off. I just was not on board with it. So, but I definitely recommend watching it once. I don't know what kind of rewatch value this has. I mean, it's really upsetting material. I don't know if that's the type of thing that someone wants to rewatch over and over again anyway. But even if you did, to know where it goes, to know that she ultimately dies, and the other theme too, I guess there's another theme here, and that theme is that the truth will never, the truth will seep up in the end. The truth will not stay buried. And that ultimately happens when, everybody gets the text messages and the cops get alerted because she had this contingency plan, and it feels a little pat. But if we didn't have that, we would riot. As moviegoers, we would riot. You can't leave us with her dying, going, well, that's reality, that's life, that's what happens. That's what would have happened. That's what happens in these situations. So yeah, but I definitely recommend watching it, especially if you are a screenwriter. You should watch this movie because it does a great job of showing instead of telling.